everybody. I'm Chris McCabe. I'm here with Vincenzo Toscano of Ecomcy. You're speaking all over
Yes.
the world. You're talking to all kinds of brands. You're going to events that I don't go to. So I'm curious what the chatter is among brand owners. I'm going to ask you some questions around AI since that's a
Sure.
hot topic. But even just what you hear at the events, are people making less, making more? Are they
Yeah.
beating their competition? Do they have more competitors, less competitors? What do you hear when you talk to brands when you go? Seems like you're
Yeah.
going to events in Morocco,
Yeah. I'm
China,
seeing everything.
everywhere. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You're
First
going
of
up
all,
the
thank you for the.
pyramids.
I know. I know. So first of all, I appreciate the invitation, Chris. I always love having these conversations and share with your community. So I think we can start with what I'm seeing. We're having this conversation before going live. Definitely, yes, it's something that by going to all these events and getting a lot of insights. And the last one I just went was Cosmoprof in Miami last week.
Miami. Yep.
Um, to get you a feeling of what I feel like, people is a bit scared about. That's the sense I get every single time you give them on a conversation the keyword Amazon. The first thing is like, oh, we have tried Amazon, maybe it didn't work out for us, or the fees, or we're afraid of agencies. And I think the reason that is been happening is a couple of things. The first one is, unfortunately, a lot of people is being born on Amazon because they didn't do things correctly, not because necessarily Amazon is not the right marketplace for them. And they just essentially have attributed a negative experience with the reality, which maybe Amazon is the place to be, but you just got born by the wrong consultant or the wrong agency, or you just didn't execute correctly. So that's the first thing I saw. A lot of people in the past got born when it comes to on Amazon. The second thing is everything that happened last year with the tariffs, and still to some extent is happening. A lot of people that completely wiped their cash flow operations.
Yeah.
And that combined with the spike on fees on Amazon last year made Amazon pretty much non-feasible for a lot of people. While in the other side of the coin, a lot of Chinese sellers pretty much didn't really care much about the tariffs and kept doing things that we know they were doing to avoid the tariffs.
Right.
And they got control over a lot of categories. So that essentially created a big displacement for a lot of brands that they couldn't manage to keep up. And the third element, which is what you briefly mentioned, is AI. I think a lot of people last year that were doing operations on Amazon, they were doing a lot of things manually. They were not really essentially building and structuring house that will allow them to react real time with what is happening with your competitor, your market, and all of that. And we are working with some of the brands that the amount of AI they put in the backend is essentially a machine that 24/7 is able to output 10x what a normal person would be able to execute, right? And this made some of the brands not be able to really succeed. So I think that's what is essentially the feeling I'm getting. There's a lot of also scarcity in terms of from a cash flow perspective. A lot of people is cash dry right now in 2026, so they don't know if they should make the last push to see if the brand survives, or just go reserve mode and cut all the expenses, all the services, and try to navigate themselves, which I think it could be a costly mistake if you don't have a clue about how to run. Not even only Amazon, could be Walmart, TikTok yourself. So yeah, I feel there's still a lot of uncertainty, but I think it's a correction. And I'm very positive about the correction because I think people that embrace the correction, which in this case is AI mainly, and understanding how the market has shifted, you can do very well. And we're seeing that it comes with the way we use AI and the way we have automated a lot of things. It's a matter of really putting the time into it and reverse engineering those processes.
If people are cutting costs, they're going to have to adopt some of the AI tools and practices and stop doing things manually because they won't have as many staff there to do things manually. That might be how that gets solved.
Yeah, I think
and the learning
my main
curve.
fear.
Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of AI ignorance now. 12 months
that's
from
the
now, I
thing.
think a lot of those people will
That's the
have to know a lot more in the next 12 months.
That's my fear, to be honest, is you definitely have to find ways to be more efficient with your cash flow, the way you spend money on either an agency or consultant or whatever. The biggest fear I have from what I'm seeing is that people is cutting overnight everything, like maybe their team or the processes, and they're going all in on AI. And the thing with AI is AI at the end of the day is very good to automating processes and giving you output faster than a normal person will give you. But at the end of the day, it's still requiring that input from a person. You still need to know which buttons to click, which API to integrate with, which kind of data the AI has to rely on to make decision making. And a lot of people in principle don't even know how to do that. So how
Yeah.
you're going to automate a business if you don't know the basics, right? This is something I remember having a conversation last week in Miami, by the way, with another agency. They were saying, what do you think about agencies? Do you feel this is going to be, not even agencies, service providers in general, AI, do you think it's going to be an issue? And I think it's not an issue if you know how to embrace it and use it to automate your processes, but more importantly, showcase to potential consumers how you know how to use AI correctly. Because at the end of the day, there's so many tools out there, there's so many automations out there, but people, most brand owners don't have the time to figure it out. They don't have the time to really make the integration happen, and they still want to
Yeah.
hire an expert too that really knows how AI is done correctly, and that's where we come into play.
They'll have to be working with an agency if they don't know how to do it themselves, because agencies are all learning this stuff quickly. And a lot of brands are calling us and asking us about changing their agency. And we're not full account management, we're not full service. So maybe that makes us look like a neutral source, but it's more significant because they're asking. And they're asking because either they want to consider getting rid of an agency and doing it themselves, or they want to work with an agency that's taking a smaller cut, I would imagine, even if they don't tell us that. I think that's part of it. Or they're just not sure what else to do because they're just losing out to competition. So am I working with an agency? Am I doing it myself? I think that's going to heat up for the next couple of quarters with Amazon sellers.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, for a lot of people, it's not even about cutting the cost necessarily. It's about with the same expenses I'm having right now, I want to have 5x the output, right? And that's essentially what we're seeing. Like even when going to these trade shows I'm going, like a lot of people saying, I'm expecting now for the same money I'm putting right now into a service to get 5-10x compared to what I did 5 years ago, because I know there is resources out there that if you know how to use them correctly, you can get me there faster with expertise, you know? So that's why there is a lot of resistance now.
Do you talk to brands who are like desperate to increase their sales rank with product reviews, and they're afraid they can't do much without getting into trouble with product reviews? So they want you to have a alternate solution. I'm hearing that too.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Like a lot of times people say, yeah, what can you do beyond Amazon buying traditional ways of requesting reviews? Do you have methodologies? And I said, listen, like, unfortunately, there's nothing really beyond that you can really do to skew the way reviews are given. Of course, your goal should be to give the best customer experience through packaging, product, and all of that. But anything beyond that, like gamifying the post-purchase with maybe things that start breaking terms and conditions with QR codes and all of that, can be dangerous, and Amazon is being very tough on that. I'm sure you're getting a lot of people getting suspended now by that because Amazon is catching up with that. So I think it's understanding that Amazon is a place to make money, but it takes time to make the money. I think the people ask those questions about the reviews is people that still come from 2014 mentality that I want to launch a product, have 300 reviews by month one, and just make a bunch of money. And that's not how Amazon works anymore. Yeah.
I think Amazon just used to be a lot easier and not as hands-on and a different skill set. So it's like the people that can really adapt will thrive. And if their competition doesn't adapt the same way, they're going to fall behind.
Yeah, I know.
And then, so I mean, it'll be fewer brands in each category, product category.
Yeah. I mean, how many people we don't know in the industry that they claim to be 10 million seller, 20 million seller, 30 million seller, but realistically, when you go and look at the history, they just got lucky. They started in 2014, 15.
Timing.
Yeah, and they claim to be experts on branding and PPC. And it's like, when I have a look at your strategy, you just happen to launch the first water bottle on Amazon. It's not that your water bottle had an amazing strategy.
Getting there first.
Yeah, that's a strategy as well. That takes strategy. You need to be fast to market. But what I'm trying to say is that we need to understand the market has shifted. And that's why it's tougher now. And I think that's actually good, because it means if you treat this as a business and you put the time and the resources behind, and the product is actually a good fit, Amazon is an amazing place, because you're going to most likely end up competing with all the people who still treat Amazon as a quick cash machine, and they're just 3 months in, essentially not being able to continue, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I think it's also happening with TikTok. Everyone's like, oh, the
I
solution to my
know.
problems is TikTok.
I know.
Well, what are you doing on TikTok?
Uh,
I don't know. My agency's doing it.
don't get me started on that. TikTok is something that even on the events to get to build on what I'm seeing, everybody knows about TikTok. TikTok is this next thing. TikTok is gonna overtake Amazon. My sales are gonna 10x on TikTok. It's like, first of all, I have never seen brands jumping from Amazon to TikTok, doing more on TikTok than Amazon, me personally, and I see hundreds of brands. Second of all, TikTok is definitely a place to be, but you shouldn't treat it as the essentially the last resort for your brand to succeed, because if that's the case, most likely you already have a dead brand. Because if a brand is not working on Amazon, that's already a super mega red flag, because if it's not working on Amazon, that's pretty much where 60% of e-commerce sales happen. What tells you that TikTok is going to essentially replace that amount of
Yeah.
potential traffic that Amazon is going to give in the first place?
Yeah.
And the third thing is that TikTok, the only thing I don't like about TikTok is that TikTok, the day you stop making content and the day you stop sending samples, it dies. It's not like Amazon that
Yeah.
it's not like Amazon that you can essentially reduce your PPC spend, but your organic ranking keeps you getting sales and everything. In TikTok, realistically, organic ranking doesn't exist. It's a pay to win kind of machine. So the day you still put in dollar amount on content, it's very tough unless you become a celebrity and your brand becomes an icon on the niche, which again, that happens, but those are unicorns. That's not the norm. You
Yeah.
need to pay to win on TikTok. So this is very important because, yes, as you mentioned, a lot of people is treating TikTok. In fact, I'm having conversation. Imagine how crazy this is getting. People is fully shutting down Amazon, removing all the inventory and putting all their eggs on TikTok. It's like,
Oh, I haven't heard anybody doing that.
yeah, I've seen people doing that already.
That's a desperation move, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
It's like, why do you think if it's not working Amazon, TikTok is gonna be the savior? You know, it's like, yeah,
you need a real strategy. I mean, with what we do with appeals for reinstatement, you need a real strategy. It's kind of the same thing. It's a parallel to people thinking, oh, I just need a one-page document.
exactly.
And there's no strategy there. It's just like, oh, that failed. We need to try something else. Get a different one-pager. I think it's the same with this, with sales.
Yeah.
Without the strategy that you can have a short-term and a long-term strategy, and see, you know, the short-term can evolve into a solid long-term strategy, but following fad and cyclical trends, it's like,
I know.
yeah.
I know, and this is something you've been in the market longer than me. You have seen the same happen years ago with ManyChat. Then there was also a big shiny object syndrome with Walmart. When Walmart came out, everybody, Walmart, everybody crashed.
Yeah.
Then ManyChat, everybody did ManyChat with follow-ups and inserts, and then everybody got suspended. Now it's TikTok. And unfortunately, what is the common denominator here? Everybody comes back to Amazon, because the reality is, as much as people want to claim Amazon is going to be replaced, I don't see that happening anytime soon, because the infrastructure they have built, nobody is even close in terms of logistics. The complexity of the ads platforms, nobody's even close. The only one that's close is Meta and Google, but doesn't really is a marketplace. It's more to serve your website and everything. And then when it comes to the reputation they have built in e-commerce, like, let's be honest, like as I mentioned, 60%, 65%, last figures I saw of e-commerce happen on Amazon. So what tells you we are gonna be a master advertiser, that you're gonna somehow master the other 35% that's out there, and you're gonna master it, you know? So
I think some of the panic, I mean, we're also going to be, by the time we post this podcast, it'll be closer to Prosper Show. And you and I are gonna co-host a happy hour there, like a welcome drink on March 9th, and we'll put some info on that later. But I think some of the panic that we're going to be hearing about in Vegas is Chinese sellers are getting hundreds of reviews overnight. No one's punishing them. You can report them. You can complain about them. They get a slap on the wrist. They don't get suspended. They keep selling, even if it's obvious that they're faking reviews. So the panic is going to be like, either I need more reviews to keep up with them, or I need a video that goes viral. I think that's where some of these ideas are coming from. And then videos on YouTube or elsewhere, LinkedIn posts, whatever, everyone's trying to feed that hunger to keep up with sellers. I mean, it's 60 to 65% of the US sellers are based in China, right?
That's the issue. and
And they
the concern is
control
that,
manufacturing. So,
yeah, that's
yeah.
the thing. Yeah, control manufacture, and not only that, Chris, you know this, like Amazon can come up with all the regulations that they want, even the US. But the Chinese seller, they know that they can do illegal things because the day you shut down, the cousin is gonna come and open another seller account. That gets
Yeah.
shut down, they use their son. That gets shut down, they use their
Yeah.
uncle. And there are hundreds of them. And
Yeah.
the thing is, they all their philosophy, because I know I speak to Chinese sellers all the time. I even go to China and meet them. Like their mantra is like, okay, come and find me in China. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
It's
been like,
changed. It's changed.
yeah, now they're sharing information and now with China, and hopefully that's gonna stop. But we know they're smart.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of tariffs and taxes, I mean, that's just kind of the last piece of
Yeah,
it because some people are more impacted than from
yeah,
tariffs than others. But I don't know what you can do if your particular industry is hit hard by tariffs because of when you're
hmm,
manufacturing. I mean, are
yeah,
you really going to, you notice no one talks about, I mean, maybe they talk about it and I don't hear it, the shift to manufacturing in India,
yeah.
Vietnam, like that was hot for 2 or 3 months. And then
And
I
then,
haven't heard about that for 6 months.
you know why?
So
Because it
didn't
doesn't,
work.
because in most sense it doesn't work. The numbers are
Yeah,
not there, the
yeah,
efficiency is not there, they don't have the machinery, and most of
yeah,
them don't even have the certification. So you move manufacturing from China to Vietnam or Thailand or India, all of
right.
that, and the quality drops significantly.
Yeah,
Certification is a mess. Logistics to ship from some out of these countries. Some of these countries in the towns they manufacture, they don't even have roads. So it's like you have to be
yeah,
part of this, you know.
yeah,
And so yeah, it's and everybody went back to China now. You know?
yeah. So it's like you can't just jump at each new idea and not have a coherent way of doing it. So,
Yeah,
yeah, well, we're looking forward to seeing you in Vegas. There's a lot to talk about with AI, TikTok, and just overall brand strategy.
I know.
Where can people reach you if they want to have a further conversation with you about any of these
Yeah,
topics?
so if you guys want to reach out, maybe have a deeper conversation about all this, feel free to find me as Vincenzo Toscano on all my social media channels, or go to my website, ecomcy.com. More than happy, book a call with me. We can have a conversation. We can see how you're using AI, if it's TikTok is working, if it's not working, what are you doing with Amazon, and maybe there's something we can do together. You know, I'm always happy to explore. Yeah.
Yeah. And since we're going to be putting this up before the Prosper Show, that's between March 10th, 11th,
Yeah,
and 12th. In Vegas, we're going to be there on the 9th. We haven't picked a bar yet, but we're going to have a welcome drink
that's gonna be fun.
happy hour that we're co-hosting. So we'll include some info on that. The bar yet, we don't know, but we'll figure one out.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Good way to start the week. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. It was
Yeah.
great to see you, and I'm looking forward to have some fun in Vegas. Yeah.
I know. I think it's going to be a wild year. And
Yeah.
you and I have talked about doing something in London as well, which we can talk about
Yeah.
offline. But
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of opportunity for good niche, smaller events with a couple dozen brands there and some subject matter experts, where you can have those kinds of conversations. I'm not saying anything about big conferences. I think they're great. I go to Amazon Accelerate. I go to Prosper
Yeah.
Show every year. But I think the smaller events are more suitable for what we do as consultants and maybe for what you. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm
All right.
looking forward to that, Chris. Okay. Have a good one.
Catch you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.